In a shocking development that has left millions of dinar holders across the world stunned, reports are emerging tonight from multiple cities inside Iraq that local television networks have begun displaying what appears to be a new exchange rate for the Iraqi dinar. Eyewitnesses from Baghdad, Basra, and Erbil have claimed that state-run TV broadcast briefly showed ticker information referencing a modified IQD to USD conversion number far stronger than the official rate that has been maintained for years. While no formal announcement has yet been made by the Central Bank of Iraq, or CBI, these on-screen indicators have triggered a wave of speculation and intense discussion across social media, economic forums, and global investment platforms. For years, rumors of a revaluation, commonly referred to as the RV, have circulated among investors. Never before has there been such a widespread, visible, and coordinated display hinting at a possible change. Tonight, the world is watching Iraq very closely. Local footage circulating online shows citizens gathering in cafes and public viewing areas, pointing toward television screens as scrolling text appeared beneath financial news segments. Some viewers report that the rate flashed for only a few moments before reverting back to regular programming. Others claim that anchors briefly mentioned adjustments in the national currency structure before quickly moving to other news segments. These reports, though unverified, have created an atmosphere of cautious excitement in a nation still recovering from years of economic turbulence. The mere appearance of a potential new rate on television has revived long-dormant hopes that Iraq may finally be preparing to restore the true value of its national currency on the international stage. Yet amid the optimism, financial analysts warn that visual cues alone are not confirmation of policy change. They may represent test signals, data transitions, or even broadcast errors. However, the timing of these broadcasts could hardly be more significant. Just days ago, Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani met with senior officials from the Ministry of Finance and the central bank to discuss what government sources called monetary reform milestones. The agenda reportedly included reviews of digital banking initiatives, cross-border trade settlements, and the stabilization of inflation. This has led some observers to suggest that the televised rate changes may be connected to internal testing for an upcoming announcement. In addition, Frank26, a well-known commentator in the global dinar community, delivered an urgent update during his recent broadcast, claiming that sources within Iraq had confirmed that visual rate testing was indeed underway on select state channels. While Frank26 reports have always sparked heated debate, the consistency of witness testimonies this week gives these claims a new level of gravity. The community of investors, both small and institutional, is holding its breath, awaiting either confirmation or denial from official government spokespeople. Behind the scenes, economic indicators in Iraq have been showing subtle but meaningful movement. Over the last several months, the central bank has steadily increased its reserves of foreign currency and gold, positioning itself to defend a stronger exchange rate if one were to be implemented. Oil revenues have also stabilized, allowing the government to settle external debts and strengthen fiscal confidence. These developments, though gradual, form the foundation upon which any legitimate revaluation would be built. A sudden adjustment to the dinar's value would require substantial financial backing, and Iraq appears to have been preparing precisely that scenario. Moreover, several reports indicate that digital payment systems in Iraq have been undergoing major upgrades in coordination with international financial software providers. If true, this would make it easier for banks and ATMs nationwide to update their rate data simultaneously, a critical technical step before any new value could go live. The public mood tonight inside Iraq is one of restrained celebration mixed with deep uncertainty. Many citizens have long endured the painful effects of a weak currency, watching prices rise while their purchasing power eroded. To them, even the possibility of a revaluation carries emotional weight far beyond economics. It symbolizes national restoration. Younger Iraqis, many of whom have never known a time when the dinar was strong, are taking to social media with posts of national pride, using hashtags like a new dinar and rising. Meanwhile, outside Iraq, investors who have followed this journey for over a decade are rechecking their data sources, calculating potential rate conversions, and debating the legitimacy of the televised signals. Some financial platforms have even reported temporary spikes in search activity related to IQD exchange forecasts, suggesting that global curiosity is rapidly intensifying. Still, until an official statement is issued by the central bank or the Iraqi government, the world can only interpret these developments with cautious optimism. False alarms have occurred before. Isolated incidents of misinformation, manipulated screenshots, and translation errors have periodically stirred the market. But the scale of this current report with multiple witnesses in different cities all describing similar scenes, makes this event distinctly different. If the televised raid was indeed an intentional preview or system test, it could indicate that Iraq is closer than ever to implementing long-awaited monetary reform. If not, it still reflects a growing confidence inside the nation to project strength and stability after years of economic hardship. Either way, what unfolded on those TV screens may mark the beginning of a new phase in Iraq's financial evolution, one that the world cannot afford to ignore. As dawn broke across Baghdad, economic analysts, journalists, and currency traders began sifting through every available frame of video footage and social media posts to determine what exactly had appeared on Iraqi television screens the night before. Within hours, several clips began circulating online, some showing a subtle alteration in the ticker feed beneath Iraqi TV's financial update segment, others featuring quick flashes of the central bank logo alongside numbers that appeared to suggest an exchange rate adjustment. The most frequently cited figure was 132, though it remained unclear whether that referred to dinars per dollar, dollars per dinar, or an unrelated internal testing code. Nonetheless, the consistency across multiple viewer recordings suggested that something significant had indeed occurred. In a country where every decimal point of currency value carries profound social and political implications, this small flicker on television has ignited what experts are calling the most intense speculation wave since the post-2003 restructuring of Iraq's financial system. Financial news outlets across the region quickly picked up the story, contacting both the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, and the Ministry of Finance for clarification. By midday, neither had issued a formal statement. Silence, in this case, spoke volumes. Veteran currency analysts noted that when governments conduct internal system trials or prepare for policy changes, public silence often precedes official confirmation. If this were merely a technical glitch, clarification would come immediately, remarked a Baghdad-based economic correspondent. But the absence of denial suggests deliberation, adding to the intrigue. Several banking insiders anonymously reported that data terminals at a few private financial institutions gone offline for brief intervals that same evening, an occurrence typically associated with software updates or rate synchronization tests. While no direct link could be proven, the timing was hard to ignore. Meanwhile, international observers have begun analyzing the broader geopolitical context in which these events are unfolding. Iraq's economic policy in recent months has been closely aligned with its efforts to strengthen trade partnerships beyond the US dollar system, particularly with neighboring countries and through regional blocs such as Basra and the Arab Monetary Fund. This shift has been described by experts as part of a gradual de-dollarization effort aimed at asserting greater sovereignty over Iraq's monetary policy. Several credible reports indicate that Baghdad has been exploring multi-currency trade settlements, allowing for direct exchange using the Iraqi dinar in bilateral deals, something that would require a stronger, more stable currency value. In that light, the appearance of a new raid on national television, even briefly, may not be accidental, but rather an early public exposure of Iraq's transition toward financial independence. Inside the central bank, sources close to the institution describe an atmosphere of intense activity and secrecy. Technical teams, according to leaked internal memos, have been tasked with auditing rate alignment across all national banking terminals, ATM systems, and foreign exchange platforms. This level of preparation suggests a major monetary event could be imminent. The CBI governor, Ali Mohsen al-Alak, has previously emphasized Iraq's commitment to transparency and modernization, often citing the importance of integrating digital tools to stabilize the nation's currency. In a statement issued just last month, he mentioned that Iraq had reached a new phase of economic readiness and was determined to enhance public confidence through accurate exchange mechanisms. Though those comments drew limited attention at the time, they now seem to resonate with renewed significance. Many observers believe that this televised raid event was not a coincidence, but a deliberate signal that Iraq is ready to reintroduce its currency's authentic value to both domestic and global markets. In the financial districts of Baghdad and Basra, activity has intensified. Exchange offices report increased foot traffic as locals inquire about rates and attempt to verify rumors. However, most banks continue to enforce the official central bank rate, denying any change. Online discussion boards are buzzing with screenshots, translations, and debate. Some users insist the footage confirms a new, stronger value, while others caution that without a government decree, the numbers hold no legal standing. The emotional tone of these conversations reflects both exhaustion and hope. The fatigue of waiting more than a decade for promised reform, and the cautious optimism that Iraq may finally be on the brink of transformation. For many Iraqis, this isn't just about money, it's about dignity, global recognition, and a return to stability after decades of economic struggle. In Washington, London, and Dubai, institutional investors are also monitoring developments with acute interest. Currency strategists suggest that if Iraq were to formally adjust its exchange rate upward, the ripple effects could be felt across the Middle East energy markets and in global forex indices. A stronger dinar could alter import and export dynamics, impact dollar reserves, and influence oil trade settlements denominated in local currency. While skeptics argue that a full revaluation remains unlikely in the near term, others point to the pattern of small, symbolic public tests that often precede major monetary announcements. Every major re-pegging in modern history, from Kuwait to China, began with subtle indicators that were visible only to those paying attention, said one former IMF consultant. What we're seeing in Iraq fits that pattern. Still, in the absence of an official declaration, caution remains the prevailing mood. Markets are stable for now, with no dramatic fluctuations in the parallel exchange rate. Yet beneath the surface, anticipation is building. Traders are preparing contingency strategies, banks are tightening data access, and citizens are keeping their televisions on, waiting, perhaps tonight again, for another glimpse of the numbers that could redefine Iraq's economic destiny. Whether this moment marks the dawn of the long-awaited revaluation or simply another test in a long process of modernization, one fact is clear: something is moving inside Iraq's financial system, and the world is beginning to take notice. As evening settled once again over Iraq, anticipation filled the air like static before a storm. Across Baghdad, cafes remained crowded with citizens glued to television screens, waiting for any new sign of confirmation from official sources. The night before had introduced uncertainty and excitement in equal measure, and now the nation watched in collective suspense. Hours passed quietly until shortly after 9 o'clock. A brief segment on Iraqi TV caught the attention of viewers nationwide. The anchor, reading from a prepared script, referred to the government's ongoing currency modernization and valuation project, noting that technical adjustments were being implemented to align Iraq's exchange rate with its true economic capacity and international obligations. The language was careful, deliberate, devoid of any direct mention of a revaluation, yet to a nation primed by years of speculation, the implication was unmistakable. Something major was happening, and this time it was being acknowledged in cautious but unmistakable terms. Within minutes, international media outlets began to report the story, citing both the televised remarks and eyewitness accounts from inside Iraq. Analysts across Bloomberg, Reuters, and Al Jazeera framed the development as a potential prelude to formal monetary action. One financial strategist described the announcement as the strongest indication yet that Iraq is transitioning toward a rate adjustment phase. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Iraq issued a late-night statement through its official website, emphasizing that the government was committed to stabilizing the national currency in a manner that reflects economic realities, safeguards citizen savings, and promotes investor confidence. The carefully worded release neither confirmed nor denied the existence of a new rate, but reassured the public that all monetary actions were being coordinated through proper institutional channels. The message was clear: Iraq was preparing for something significant, but it would do so on its own terms with full procedural control. In the streets of Baghdad, the atmosphere grew electric. Taxi drivers discussed the news with passengers, shopkeepers checked exchange apps, and online influencers broadcast live reactions to the unfolding story. For many Iraqis, this wasn't just an economic update, it was a moment of national pride, a signal that their country was finally stepping into the global financial arena with confidence and autonomy. Years of instability, inflation, and policy confusion had eroded trust in the system, but now there was a sense of cautious unity. In Basra, one merchant was quoted saying, "Even if the new rate is small, it means our leaders believe Iraq's value is rising again. That's enough to give people hope." The sentiment echoed across provinces, pride mixed with patience, optimism tempered by realism. After years of waiting, Iraq seemed closer than ever to reclaiming its financial independence. Behind this public anticipation, international observers were assessing what the next 72 hours could mean for the global economy. If Iraq officially adjusts its currency rate upward, even modestly, the implications could ripple far beyond its borders. For one, it would strengthen regional trade with Gulf neighbors, potentially reshaping import-export costs and stimulating cross-border commerce. Additionally, a stronger dinar would give Iraq greater leverage in oil contracts and OPEC negotiations, reducing reliance on U.S. dollar settlements. Economists have long debated whether Iraq would pursue such a move independently or in coordination with broader Middle Eastern monetary reforms. The televised messages now suggest the former, a confident, internally driven policy shift that reflects Iraq's readiness to assert financial sovereignty. As one European analyst noted, this could be Iraq's declaration of economic adulthood, a clear statement that it no longer needs to operate under transitional frameworks or foreign influence. Meanwhile, across the online investor community, discussion boards and live streams surged with record engagement. Frank26, whose earlier broadcast had foreshadowed this moment, went live again to deliver what he called a confirmation of evidence through visual verification. His tone was measured but firm. The rate has been seen. The testing is done. Now, Iraq moves into the announcement phase. Supporters flooded chatrooms with messages of excitement, while skeptics reminded viewers to wait for official CBI documentation before drawing conclusions. Yet even among the cautious voices, the mood had shifted. This time, there was tangible proof that movement was happening at the institutional level. Whether or not the final rate matches expectations, most analysts agree that Iraq's path toward full monetary reform is now irreversible. As midnight approached, the central bank's website temporarily went offline, reportedly for scheduled system maintenance. To some, it was a mundane technical event. To others, it was the final sign before the reveal. Banks across Iraq remained open for extended hours the following day, with tellers instructed to reassure customers that all deposits and balances were secure. The country's communications ministry even issued a short statement urging citizens not to spread unverified financial information online, an indication that the government was actively managing public sentiment in anticipation of formal news. Across the nation, the feeling was unmistakable, the calm before transformation. Now, as the world watches Iraq stand at the threshold of potential revaluation, one truth becomes clear: this is more than a story about numbers on a screen. It's the story of a nation rebuilding its confidence, asserting its economic identity, and reminding the world of its strategic importance. Whether the official announcement arrives tomorrow, next week, or months from now, Iraq's course toward financial sovereignty has already begun. The signals have been seen, the groundwork has been laid, and the people, both inside and outside Iraq, are paying attention as history quietly unfolds before their eyes. And now to everyone watching this report, stay alert, stay informed, and stay cautious. The situation is evolving rapidly, and verified updates will be crucial in the coming hours and days. If you want to continue tracking the latest verified developments in Iraq's currency reform story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on all notifications so you won't miss the next major update when it breaks. Because in the world of global finance, sometimes a single number can change everything, and that number might have just appeared on Iraqi TV.